What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. And today's feature blade, another fine product from Steel Wheel Knives. We've got the Mini Modus in the house here at Baz on Blades. Now, I have reviewed a ton of steel wheel products. As always, thank you very much to Paulina at Steel Wheel, my hookup there, and to Steel Wheel Knives themselves. They've always been very good to Baz on Blades and Baz on Blades viewers, because this is yet another knife that is going to go in the 2020 Christmas giveaway here at Baz on Blades. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of the third knife, something fixed blade, something tactical that is going to also go in that giveaway. But let's talk about the Mini Modus. This is part of their FRN handled D2 tool steel bladed budget line. I have reviewed a ton of these knives, the Modus and the Cut Jack, and just all kinds of models of different sizes. And I believe I have reviewed the full-size Modus in the past. I believe that was a loaner knife, and if I remember right, that came over from LTK. So if that is true, thank him for that. But we're going to take a look at the Mini Modus here. This is the F25M-14 variant. There are multiple different colors of FRN and back spacers available on these. The blade is available in a satin finish or a black wash finish. So there's multiple variations to suit your personality in these FRN knives from Steel Wheel. Now, this is the Mini Modus. It is fairly small. I do have a knife here we'll compare it to, and I've got another mini model of a Steel Wheel product, the Cut Jack, out here also. We'll look at the differences there. But let's go ahead and we'll set this aside for just a minute. We will pull out the packaging here, standard Steel Wheel packaging, slip sleeve over their silk screened cardboard box. Inside you will find your paperwork. Oh my goodness, so hard paperwork taking it out of a box. So what we've got here, you see, this is part of Steel Wheel's Urban series. There's your information on that. The knife comes packaged in bubble wrap here, and it's pretty plain packaging. Solid enough box. You know, I've not had any of these boxes get crushed in shipping yet. They're pretty solid packaging, if a little plain. But you know what? The packaging is not what we're into. The packaging is just to protect the knife. So let's bring the knife back out here. We've got some crap on the table there. And let's knock the numbers out. This is the mini version of the Modus. You are looking at a 2 3/4 inch blade length. That's about 7 centimeters. The blade stock thickness, 119 thousandths of an inch, about 3 millimeters. Your handle length, 3 7/8 of an inch, and that is 10 centimeters for the most part. Handle thickness, pretty much spot on, 1/2 inch or 13 millimeters. Handle width at the widest point here, about 1 inch or 27 millimeters. The closed width is 1.3 inches. That's up here including the flipper tab. It's 34 millimeters. Overall length, 6 5/8 of an inch. Pretty compact, and that's about 17 centimeters. The stop pin is a captured stop pin. I doubt we'll even, yeah, you can see it in there a little bit. I believe that these stop pins are between 112 and 115 thousandths of an inch. That's slightly less than 3 millimeters, like 2.7 millimeters, 2.8 millimeters. A good balance to the blade stock thickness. Behind the edge thickness, I hit it in 3 spots, very thin behind the edge, that consistent edge there, 14, 15 thousandths of an inch, and that's about 0.4 millimeters. handle to blade ratio, a good balance of 0.71, and your weight, a trim 2.86 ounces or 81 grams. Now, material-wise, what we're looking at again, D2 for your tool steel. That is standard in these models, and it is pretty much the darling steel of the budget knife arena right now. You will find D2 from all of these premium budget knife manufacturers, and there's a reason for that. D2 is available worldwide. It is a World War II era tool steel, a simple tool steel. It is high in carbon. It's high in chromium, although it is considered semi-stainless. It misses the stainless qualifier by about 1.5 percentage of chromium. It does contain some vanadium, but not much. You will typically find the Rockwell between 59 and 62, depending on the heat treat and temper. And what you get out of that is good edge retention. D2 will take a toothy razor edge. It will lose that razor edge fairly quickly, but what it does, the strong point of D2 is it keeps a toothy working edge for a long time. The reason is all that chromium in there, it forms chromium carbides, big old chromium carbides in the matrix of the steel. They're all along the edge in that steel, and it takes a lot to wear them out. It tends to cut very toothy and very aggressive. Toughness and impact resistance is decent. D2, depending on the edge thickness and the tempering and heat treat, can be a little chippy. I've not seen any issues in steel wheels heat treat, and I've not heard about any issues either. But of course, on a small under 3 ounce knife with less than 3-inch blade length, you're not going to be doing any chopping with it. I wouldn't do any prying with the edge. At 14-15 thousandths, it might be a little chippy if you try to pry with it. Use it as a cutting tool. Guess what? That's what it's made for anyway. As far as corrosion resistance, D2 is not the nightmare that carbon steels can be. It has a fairly high amount of chromium in it, and if you just take a modicum of care with it, it will not rust or stain. Now, you can see there's some slight sort of smudging across the blade there. That is because anything that's D2 that comes through the Bazon Blades facility here instantly gets a coat of Tough Glide. Tough Glide is a rust inhibitor, and that's all I've ever used on my blade steels. I've yet to have any knife rust on me that I use Tough Glide on. You can buy a bottle of it for $10 or $12. It lasts forever. It just takes one drop. It goes on wet. It has the consistency of water pretty much. It goes on wet, and then it evaporates away, and it leaves behind a corrosion inhibiting barrier. The only thing I'll say about that is I wouldn't use it on anything that I would be prepping food with. For that, I would just get a bottle of plain old food grade mineral oil. Wipe it down, wipe off the excess where it's not wet. That's all D2 takes. Just clean it after you use it. Keep a little rust inhibitor on it. I probably wouldn't pick D2 if I lived in a high salt atmosphere area, say along coastlines. I probably wouldn't choose D2, then I'd go with a stainless steel. But I don't have any issues keeping D2 in good shape. It's a pretty decent performing steel, very well proven, widely available, cheap, easy to heat treat for these companies to get consistency. Again, you're going to be about 59 to 62 on the Rockwell on this. In the handle, you've got FRN scales. You can see the pattern here. It is a deeply molded in pattern. Okay. I'm not going to say that it aids in a lot of traction, because one of the downfalls of FRN is no matter what the molded in traction is, still the surface is slick. You're going to get your traction in this knife in the profile of the handle with the deep finger choil here, secondary choil, nice drop at the butt end, very ergonomic. That's where you're going to get your traction for that. Your small parts are radially machined stainless, big-headed, very attractive, very consistent. You've got the standard polished finished pocket clip here that you get on these FRN knives. It is reversible on these knives. You do have an aluminum backspacer that is anodized. Again, available in multiple different colors with different color of FRN. This one is in the blue. It is very attractive with this battleship gray. I love that look. It is a metallicized or metallitized, or it's a Metallica anodizing on it, guys. So you've got the pop of the metallic look. It's not just a flat look. It gives it just the right amount of pop to bring that look together. It's exposed here. You've got your through hole for your lanyard. You know what? Again, all of this standard for this line from steel wheel. Now, as far as fit and finish goes, we're going to go up here to the blade. The last steel wheel knife I reviewed, in fact, all the steel wheel knives that I reviewed, the fit and finish, the grinds on the blades have been perfect. Look how smooth and flat. You see the reflection go across the blade. You're not seeing dips in the grind. You're not seeing where the previous coarseness levels in the grind are not taken out. It's a very fine grind finish satin there. Both sides look very, very good. The grinds as far as going into the plunge are even. That is a nice soft plunge. You do have a sharpening choil here, and it does come out. You can see in the reflection right there. Okay, we are out past that plunge, so you should be able to sharpen all the way to the end of the edge without having a big smiley face down here. The etching as far as the steel wheel marking, and then your markings on the back here, Modus, and your model there. They have 25M D2 for your blade steel. All very clean, pretty subdued. It's not billboarded all up. It's you don't really have a swedge on this, guys. You've got distill taper here at the tip to take the thickness down. And you've got some jimping here on the back. You can see the consistency of that jimping, and it is very useful. It is a very good jimping, guys. Let's take a look here. You can see very well. It is a very good jimping. No issues in the fit and finish on that blade. That secondary bevel, look at that edge bevel, guys. That is super even. Super even. Fit and finish on the handle, same damn thing. I've never had an issue with the fit and finish on any of these knives from steel wheel. Everything, and I mean everything, is super consistent and tight on these knives. Of all the FRN D2 knives that I've had come through my hand, everything is finished the same. And I'm going to go ahead and bring out this mini cut jack here. Now, this mini cut jack was a gift to Baz on Blades from a viewer going on 2 years ago. Okay, 2 years ago. I just got this knife about 2 weeks ago from steel wheel. Look at the consistency and the finish on these small parts. Okay, it's absolutely the same. Everything is absolutely the same, and we're talking about over 2 years. Look at the blade finish. These could have been blades that were ground and finished the same day out of that facility, not 2 years apart. They are very, very consistent in these knives as far as fit and finish goes. So kudos to steel wheel there. Now, let's go on to action, and this is where this gets a little complicated because everybody is so big on action nowadays. We've got so many of these budget knives coming through on ball bearing pivots, and that does not apply to these knives from steel wheel. These are on phosphor bronze bushings. We will look and see if we can see down in there. You guys may be able to see those. The flipping action on this example is very good. It's very good. It's got a good detent. Yeah, the geometry as far as the setup between the flipper tab center line to the center line of the pivot is excellent. No issues there. You know, you can light switch it. You can push button. It's snappy either way. Now, the action closing is phosphor bronze bushing. It's very smooth, but there is friction there. It's not going to be drop shut smooth, guys. Now, I could get it drop shut smooth. I could loosen it up to where I had just the barest hint of play, but I would prefer not having any play in the pivot and having a little friction on that. I like the extra support that phosphor bronze bushings provide to a pivot. They allow for clamping area underneath that pivot hardware. The better clamping area you have, the more contact area, the better the force is distributed from your hardware and the stronger of a joint you have. And you know, Bazon Blades has always said there is no heavy-duty folding knife on the face of this planet. It doesn't matter what it is. You bring me a cold steel 4 Max and I can break it almost instantly. Any Medford knife, any Strider knife, it doesn't matter. You can break it almost instantly because it's multiple parts held together by very small hardware. As far as hardware goes, even the biggest, beefiest hardware on a folding knife is pretty damn small, guys. But as far as the difference between phosphor bronze bushings and bearings go, you do get a little bit of extra strength in that pivot from the bushing setup. In my opinion, okay, I have not done any lab test to prove that, and it could be just an old wives' tale, and Bazon Blades could be just an old wife. Except I'm single and I'm a man. I'm not a woman. But that's neither here nor there. So, as far as action goes, very snappy flipper. It is phosphor bronze bushing closing, very smooth. Again, very snappy. No issues there. The lockup, guys, zero issues on the lockup. Again, there is absolutely no play, and you can see. Look at how hard I'm grasping this and moving it, guys. I'm not babying it, and there is zero movement. The centering on this example, let's look right down the center here, and it's right down the center. The center is right in the center. Exactly where you want the center to be. Come on. It's not any better than that. So, as far as the action goes, I think it's everything that you could expect out of a phosphor bronze bushed flipper. And that's even at this budget price, guys. And did I mention the price? $46. $46 about average for these knives across the board. I looked on the internet, just did a quick look. You might find it for a few dollars less or a few dollars more, and it's up to you to decide whether D2 FRN phosphor bronze bushings is worth $46 to you. I can't tell you one or another. I don't think that it's too high of a price for what you get. Your opinion may be different. Just take it as it is. So let's move on to ergos and utility usage. As far as the blade goes, what is not to like about this blade shape? Again, there's no swedge up here. You do have distill taper to get down to the thinness of your tip. It is sharp enough to catch, even though this is not a pointy, sharpie sort of pokey blade profile, is it? What this blade profile is all about is all of this belly. How much belly has it got, Baz? It's got all the belly. This is a big big old sausage gravy and biscuit eating belly right here, guys. That's all it is. And that thin behind the edge, 14, 15 thousandths behind the edge, it is a slicer, period. It is a slicer, and it slices very well. So as far as utilitarian use of that blade profile, yeah, it's all there. Ergos in the handle, it is compact. You're looking at what we say on the handle length, 3 7/8 of an inch. Okay, we're going to do some comparisons. Let's set this thing down right here. We'll set it down. We're going to bring out a standard here. We've got the Cold Steel American Lawman here. We're going to have to turn that around, guys. Going to have to turn them around there. All right, so you can see the difference in the size there. And then we're going to bring one of the other minis here, the Mini Cut Jack, out. You can see that the Cut Jack is slightly bigger than the Modus. But what you do not immediately see in that is, even though the handle is slightly bigger, the blade is slightly longer on the Cut Jack, the cutting edge. Now, if we line those up, you can see here, the cutting edge is exactly the same length in these knives. So, as far as performance potential, cutting edge balance, you're not going to lose anything going down to a slightly smaller size there. What you do lose is extra large hands are probably going to find this knife a little small. This is in my large size hands. Again, my hand size is large, my finger length is medium, but you can see even in my large size hands, I'm getting all 4 fingers on there, okay? You do not have a forward choil, although you could come up and hook the forward side of the flipper tab, but be careful, stay away from the edge of that blade. And that's one of the big differences between the Modus and the Cut Jack. The Cut Jack is longer basically on the blade length to accommodate a forward choil. You're not getting any more blade length. What you lose in that blade length is because of that forward choil. Again, you do not have the forward choil on the Mini Modus, so you got the same amount of cutting edge. The Modus or the Cut Jack, we'll see, you can see the difference in the fit here. The difference in the handle length here on these two knives. Okay, it's not a great deal of difference, but it could very well be, depending on your hand size, it could be the little bit of difference that makes a difference. So if you have, say, large to extra large hands, but you want a compact knife, you might want to go with the Cut Jack. If you've got large, medium, small hands, then this would probably be perfect for a compact knife. Other than the size, the ergos are excellent. You can see it's a very ergonomically shaped handle, a nice drop in the butt, a nice deep finger choil here. You've got a very slight secondary and third choil here, almost like the front strap on a J-frame revolver. Very subtle on these secondary choils here, and my hand, it falls right into all that stuff, and the handle has got good radius on the side. I mean, guys, it's just comfortable. It's very, very comfortable and very, very ergonomic to hold. Again, a little bit on the small side. It is a very compact knife, and that is design parameters for this knife. That makes it neither good nor bad. It is just what it is. It is a knife designed to be this size. But I do find it ergonomic, at least in my hands. Either it or the Cut Jack works well for me, but it is going to be up to your hand size. And we've probably talked enough about that, and I've shown you enough about it where you can hazard a guess whether it will work for you or not. So let's get some closing thoughts in here on the Mini Modus. Again, I have always found these steel wheel FRN D2 knives to be of excellent quality. Everything fit and finish wise on every one, and I'd say I've had 5 or 6 of them come through across the review table here. They have always been excellent. This one is another good example of that. Fit and finish is pretty much perfect on it. It's a good looking knife. The action is snappy. Now, of course, it's not going to be drop closed because it's on bushings, on phosphor bronze bushings and not on bearings. So if that makes a difference to you, just, you got to make up your own mind. But for what it is excellent as far as the quality of the make on it. The design itself is utilitarian. It is ergonomic. If on the compact side, but you just got to know that going into it. That blade shape is just slicey, slicey, slicey. I can find 0 faults in that blade profile or grind. And D2 is a decent tool still, very toothy, aggressive cutter. I have used D2 extensively. I mean, extensively, guys. And I'm getting ready to do a video showcasing some sharpening on some D2 on another knife. So, yeah, I'm going to recommend this knife. We've gone into detail about what it is, what it's going for, what the size is, design parameters. You've got to make up your own mind. But if it fits what you like, about $46, guys, I think that they are a solid deal. And that's just steel wheel in a sack right there. That's steel wheel in a poke. They're just a solid deal. So, Baz on Blades, you said you were going to give us a sneak peek of the third knife from the giveaway, and we are going to do that right now. And what we've got right here, we're going to come in. Uh-oh. That's a Tanto blade. Look at that. That's a Tanto. That's a Tanto. It's a Tanto. And what we've got here is the steel wheel Sentence 131. This is part of their sentence line, if I'm not pronouncing that well. It is nice thick stock G10 handle scales, nice weight to it. Yeah, tactical Tanto OD green G10. It's going to come with a Kydex sheath, and that will be the third knife in the Christmas giveaway, thanks to Steel Wheel. Again, the Steel Wheel Mini Modus, guys. All right, as always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.